Welcome everybody, my name is Bronson with the Epoxy Resin Store. I'm going to show you my favorite marble replication. Today we're going to be using Super Gloss, which has been pre-tinted white. It's a beautiful product. Makes your life really easy when you're making marble replications. You don't have to think about dyeing your epoxy or tinting it white or any of that. It's all ready to go and you get beautiful results every time. All right, we're going to be using a graduated cup, so we get a perfect 1-to-1 measured ratio out of it. We do 3 ounces minimum per square foot, round up, and you'll get a perfect result every time. So let's pour that out. I've got 2 boards here, approximately 1.5 feet. So let me do the math on that. We'll do up to 10 ounces. That should be more than enough for these 2. So we rounded way up on that one. All right, when you're mixing your Super Gloss, make sure that you're doing very careful measurements and that you put your B in first and then your A in second. Particularly with the tint on it, it makes it easier to see your lines. And you're gonna see here in a second. You know that over poured, I actually have 8 in there, so we're gonna have 16. We're gonna have a ton of leftover. Now that I got my A poured in, I'm gonna add my B in. Went a little more than 8 ounces, so we're gonna go a little more than 16 on this one. All right, remember when you're mixing your epoxy to make sure you're scraping the sides and the bottom as you stir it in. Take your time. The largest mistake that I run across with people who are needing help that have had a bad result with epoxy, they've just been in a rush. They do one of 2 things. They either don't mix their epoxy properly enough, or they don't measure it properly, so their proportions are off. Use a lot of different brands of epoxy, and I really love Super Gloss because it is forgiving, but it's always best to try and get the ratios as close to them as you can. So I'm gonna take my time, mix this up really well. You can see you got this beautiful white pigment. It's gonna make an awesome marble. All right, now that I've got my epoxy all mixed up, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take it and we're gonna spread it out on these boards here so we get a nice evenly distributed amount to work with. You'll see this one I actually am reusing this sample board. I like to play with different colors and whatnot and improve my craft all the time. So rather than making a new sample board every time, I will reuse them. I do that by simply just painting over with a fresh coat of bonding primer like you see on here, and it's ready to go. I'm gonna use my hands rather than a trowel on this one. I'm just gonna lightly push these out to the edge of my boards here so that we get a nice, even coat. We've got a lot on here, so this is gonna marble out really nicely. All right, we're gonna do that to this one too. Just like that. I like to tap it out a little, especially if I've used a trowel on it. So it's more become habit. It helps kind of get that resin, if there's any surface tension like I had right there. Make sure we get that all knocked out. So you'll see right here, I missed a little, so when I come back through, I just tap it and this baby will flow over. That's it, these boards are ready to become marbleized. All right, I'm gonna show you 2 different techniques like I talked about today. We're just gonna use a simple chip brush. You can get these at anywhere, any big box store, anywhere that sells paint or anything like that. They do tend to lose their bristles quite a bit, so I like to really give it a good tug and de-shed these things, get as much as we caught. A lot of my clients really go for this smoky, wispy kind of look. The second look that I'm gonna go for is like a thin, lots of negative space. So this one's a little bit different. So I'm gonna be taking my brush and I'm gonna be keeping it straight up and down, keeping contact. I'm gonna drag the whole brush through the epoxy just like that. And I'm gonna create almost like little thin lipstick lines that people really love. So I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna come through, it's almost follow the leader. And I'm gonna start off the board and then I'm gonna come off the board completely. Epoxy's gonna come back together here. If you wanna follow it back through and then fork on off, you can make an additional fork just like that. Come back through here so it all flows. And with this technique, this is really less is more. People, this is a lot of negative space, but it turns out beautifully. So just like that, I'm gonna do one little section just here, just for the sake of this demonstration. That's all I'm gonna do with that, just like that. And as the super gloss does its thing, it's gonna flow out. And because I drug my paintbrush through at just a straight line like that, I get these beautiful wisps that are gonna fall out as we do that. All right, thin little marble lines over here. I'm gonna use the Montana Black Chrome. I really like this color. And it comes out really, really nice. Same thing, I'm gonna start up here. I'm gonna work my way down the vein. And I'm not gonna hit this second fork here. And then I'm gonna do down this one here. And this one right through there. And you see how it's thick right here? One of the techniques I like to do, just take my stick, and I'm actually hitting the bottom. I don't know if you can hear that, but I'm pressing quite hard, and we're gonna let that work its way out. And now, one of my favorite properties of super gloss, I've waited to the very end, probably drove some of you crazy, is we're gonna hit it just once with a torch, and it's gonna be beautifully glassed out, super smooth. When it dries out and we put our top coats on, it's gonna be lovely. You're gonna love it. Take my handy dandy torch. All right, same with this one. Give it a quick torch. Just like that, look how that laid out. Man, I really like that. In my epoxy countertop business, we do these all day long. Clients go crazy for them. You can layer in different colors, different looks. Tomorrow we'll take these same boards and I'll show you what you can do in a top coat to add some additional embellishments that your clients will really enjoy and that you'll enjoy in your own countertops as well. Hey, if this provided value to you, please give us a like, subscribe to the channel. You'd be doing us a solid.